Okay, welcome to another WatchPro Originals. And today we've got four people from four different parts of the world, but all heavily involved in the watch industry and all editors. We have Alexander Friedman, who's the founder and editor of Watchonista, who's joining us from Lausanne, Switzerland. Josh Shanks, his colleague, who's the North American editor for Watchonista, who is joining us from. Are you in Manhattan or are you?
Well, no, I'm bluffing a little bit. I was in Manhattan for 2 months for the quarantine. I'm actually in Connecticut. My wife and I moved about a month ago. So, okay. But it was planned pre-COVID. It wasn't a great escape or anything. So.
Okay, all right, great. And we have Antje Heepmann, whose video is not working, but she's joining us from Hamburg, and she's my colleague because she's the editor of WatchPro, the German edition of WatchPro. So we'll start with you, Alex. You can tell us not only how life in Lausanne is at the moment, but you can also tell me how life was in the Hamptons on Long Island, because you were there up until a couple of weeks ago.
So we decided to be early. We escaped the city quite early. We did a massive grocery, so like end of the world type of grocery. We went to the Hamptons. We stayed there for a month. It was quite nice, nature, not too many people, and I must say it was safe. But I mean, anyway, your day, it's balanced between what are you gonna do tomorrow, the number of phone you have to do, how you're gonna get organized, spend some time on the news. Unfortunately, we had to spend a lot of time watching U.S. news, different channels that gives you a different type of apocalyptical forecasts. But everything went quite well. At the end, we can't complain. I must say that we worked a lot of telephone calls, a lot of video calls, Zoom. I think we used maybe 5 or 6 different programs over these last months. But everything went quite good. I had to leave the United States for my visa because I could stay only 90 days. So I was surprised to see that there are flights to Switzerland like 3 times a week. So Swiss is never stop the flights. You have to get organized to come back. You have to show papers. You have to show that you're in good health, etc. But leaving an airport which were empty, Newark, which really impressed me. I think it's probably I hope will be the only time in my life that I see an airport empty like this. A very bizarre flight because again you're flying with a mask and there's few people. We're 10 people in this huge plane. You land in Switzerland. You're in the airport and everything is still locked down. Just your flight arrived. It's empty. Then you open the doors of the costume and there is a big surprise. People in shorts, nobody wear a mask. And then you see, well, something is happening here. And technically, yeah, I mean, everything is reopening in Switzerland. It's not only a beautiful weather, but you don't see that many people with masks. The public transportation are completely open. They ask you to stay not more than 5 people together. But I mean, you see people outside. All the stores are open. All the groceries are open. The retailers are open. That's a good news. I mean, 2 of our partners, 2 of our clients are just open. You just have to be cautious when you get in and out. I mean, the people that there's a maximum capacity of people. But otherwise, we're restarting working with them, creating content to prepare the reopening, and it's back on track. Even the manufacturers, it's 50% capacity in production, 50% capacity here and there, but things are good. So I'm very happy to be back.
And you've been very, very active with Watchonista, doing, all sorts of new technology. You mentioned. I know, Josh, I've seen you a number of times on your Instagram live interviews. You seem to be catching up with half the CEOs of the world.
Yeah, I think the concept of home time was really started by all of us. Alex, myself, Marco came together, and it's like we need to find a way to communicate in this period. And we have the utmost access to these guys. Everyone's staying at home. Everyone's working remotely. Let's see if they have some time on their hands to do an IG live. And then we started the home time live series about 8 weeks ago. We just stopped it at the end of last week, now that we're slowly coming out of deconfinement. But yeah, we had great access and really privileged access from everyone from George Kern to Jean-Claude Biver and, a wide variety of brands and retailers and personalities. And it was great. The viewership was great. The traffic numbers, both to the website and to social media on the impression side, has totally skyrocketed. And I think people were looking for something different, and they were looking. And now I think based upon that, we're seeing everyone and their brother going live now. And I think that's really just started a new conversation. And it'll be interesting to see how we continue that momentum after this.
And how are things looking in Connecticut? Are they opening up at all? Because I know it's state by state, things are quite different in the United States.
Yeah, state by state here. There's like half of the U.S. that has decided to reopen, even though they didn't really meet the mandates to reopen. And classic America, we found a way to kind of politicize it. But in Connecticut, we're under lockdown until May the 20th, which is Wednesday, basically. But they're letting offices open, restaurants open, but you still have to meet this criteria where you can have a COVID test, where you can have a temperature screening, where you can, be able to say where you've been over the last 2 weeks, which, for us working remotely, I would say Watchonista US has never been busier. We've got all of our team remotely. We found a good formula. We're working quite strong. And now we're seeing the brand slowly, de-thaw and, the retailers coming out. And that's been good. Now, New York City is a different case. We know that it was the hardest hit. New York City is extended their stay at home until June 13th. So with that, nothing can reopen until June 13th. You can do takeout, you can do curbside pickup, but as I was talking with a retailer the other day, they're like, it's really hard to position a Rolex as a curbside pickup item, but we'll see. I think, conservatively, I hope to be back in the office by end of June, early July. I would love to be there. We know that New York City office spaces are quite crowded. Alex has been in our space as well, and they're saying that you have to socially distance in the office and whatnot. It's going to be interesting to see how that works. Maybe, you can have half the team there, half the team remote, or switch days or whatever. But, I think that we're on the downward trend of this, and hopefully that it'll be back to normal soon.
Yeah, it's interesting that, London and New York are probably the two worst hit cities in the world. London has actually quite quickly got things under control and is now probably in a better position to reopen than the rest of the UK. But it's the whole country or the whole of England is moving together, although Wales and Scotland and Northern Ireland are moving at slightly different pace, and they found their own political voices of calling for independence, so that they can reopen or keep their shops closed for longer. And Antje, we were speaking on Friday, and I think you're on week 4 of shops being reopened. How are things over there?
So I think the general mood in Germany in the situation is quite good compared with other countries, of course. And the people come back to normal life every day a little bit more. So all shops are open. The restaurant starts to open now, and we can go to holiday in the summer. So we believe in this. And of course, the Premier League, the soccer league restarts this weekend. And so there's more normal life every day, step by step, and that's quite good. But this morning, I read an article in the newspaper which reflects the mood in Germany very well. And the headline was, dealing with the Corona crisis, everyone invites Germany, only the Germans don't. So that's very typical for the Germans. So we all agree, or most of the Germans, they agree with how the government deals with the crisis, but now they start to find the mistakes and what has going wrong and things like that. But the mood in general is quite good, and that's the one thing when you look at the shops and the stores who are all opened now. The thing is that the Germans are not in a shopping mood. That's really a big problem. So the shops are open since 4 weeks, more or less, and but the people don't want to go in the city centers or in the big shopping malls, because they're still a little bit afraid, and you have to wear a mask everywhere, also in the public transport and in all the stores. And that's so some jewelers said to me that destroys the atmosphere in the shops, and it's not it doesn't make fun to buy a jewelry or watch with wearing a mask and having a plexiglass wall between the shop assistant and the customer. So but I think it will become better and better every day, and we hope that the famous R value stays under 1. So that's in the moment that's the fact. And yeah, but the mood is okay, and a lot of people now plan their summer holidays. So
okay, and just speaking to your friends, Antje, do you get the feeling that they're getting more and more relaxed, whether they've got kids going to school or they're going out shopping or whatever? Is it day by day that people just start to feel a bit better?
So it's not so much going shopping, but to meet your friends. That's what starts. So the people meet their friends, they have, or their family, and they can do a trip to their family, which they haven't seen for maybe for a month or something like that. And some of them, I think they became a little bit careless and forget that it's not over. The crisis isn't not over. But so I think it will last longer than we thought, that we come back to a normal life.
Yeah, I think everyone has to find their own way out of isolation, because everyone's a little bit fearful to begin with. And here in the UK, where nobody's basically going free, I liken it to vegetarians. Vegetarians will generally give up on their choice, because they have to have a Big Mac, or they have to have a bacon sandwich, or they have to have something. There's something that triggers a teenage vegetarian to go back to meat usually. But I think in this instance, it might be that you want to go and see your friends, or you might want to go and see your family, or you might want to go out and buy a Rolex. But something's going to get you out of the house. Let's hope it's going to buy luxury watches. So Alex, tell me about the sort of media side of things. I mean, you know, from WatchPro's perspective, we've seen engagement and audiences and traffic going, you know, more or less doubling in the United States, UK, Germany. But of course, the advertising is not following quite as fast. So we've had to be pretty creative and come up with a lot of fresh ideas. What have you found around the world?
Well, what we've done, you know, taking back what you said about home time with Josh. I mean, the idea of home time was definitely not something commercial. It was something said, okay, guys, we know that we will be, you know, in confinement. We know that we have to entertain people. We know that we try to avoid as much as possible to talk about COVID, because you're bombed. Everywhere you are, there is media, there is friends. In every family, there is suddenly a virus, you know, specialist, this and that. I mean, you talk about the COVID all the time. So the idea was to make something a little bit more light, have the possibility of talking with top CEOs, emblematic persons, collectors, and so on, and to bring something fresh, something like more easy and cool to listen to. And that was our approach. Same thing into the editorial. You know, in terms of commercial, we're lucky enough, we haven't got any big cancellation, you know, big programs. Everything, a lot of things are postponed. You know, we do some events, collector events and so on. A lot of things are postponed, obviously, and a lot of, you know, display campaigns are also postponed. We came to some clients and said, listen, you know, there is more traffic now, but I don't know if it's really a good moment to have this specific campaign at the moment. And in terms of editorial, we have to adapt, because we have a very good team in the creative studio. So all our team that create the content, the visual content here in Switzerland and in US, we have to take the decision who is doing what. Because you know that in US, Josh has been managing the team very, very effectively. But then you have a lack of content. I mean, you have a lack of watches. If you want to talk about a watch, we want to see the watch. We want to do our own pictures. We always have concept. Let's take the watch and do this. Let's take the watch and do that. So that has to be switched more back to Switzerland, because Switzerland, we had access during this period. We had direct access to the manufacturers. Even if they're closed, more or less, we could manage to get like 4 or 6 different timepieces per week. So we could make and then you see how you can organize, because sometimes part of the job has been done in Switzerland, but to fulfill some agreements or concept that we signed in the US. So there was really a link between the two entities. And then it's just a question of brainstorm. You know, we have these editorial, we do more editorial planning, more editorial brainstorms. We came out some very cool concept of, you know, the unlikely collector, try to talk about Prince Charles, the Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of England. We had a beautiful article on the Shah of Iran that had a huge engagement. So to take also something more fresh, because otherwise, you see, the brands that are really strong enough to launch products under COVID. I mean, there are all these thoughts around all this movement around watches and wonders. And I think it's a very good concept, but definitely when you used to go all the years to SIHH, there is this barrier. So you still want to see the watch, you're waiting to go and finally discover the timepieces. But nevertheless, I mean, if some brands wanted to launch, we had to adapt also and to see how we could do something differently. Not only a watch review, but maybe be a little bit more patient. Let's wait that everybody publish a novelty, and then we come back 2 weeks after, because we will have the watch in hand, when we do something different. So more or less, that's what we've done. We've tried to be more creative and less commercial, less pushy, because we know that at the moment the brands are already sorting out, for some brands, how to survive, some other brands how to minimize the drama, the problem, and others that would say, okay, nothing for next year, we do next year. So our main aim was to be close to our audience, create something fresh, stay close to our partners. Very important to brands. You need anything? Can we do anything? You know, just to have this period which is not commercial, but just to be there to support, and then we see from that.
And Josh, how have you coped with the sparsity of the launch program this year? Nothing from Rolex, nothing from Patek, very little from AP, next to nothing from Omega, next to nothing from Tag Heuer. I mean, so many of the big brands have not really put out their fired off their big guns yet. Has that caused any issues for you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think from a brand and retailer standpoint, I think Alex said it really well. It's you know, from the positioning for us, was having the base in Switzerland allowed us so much more access to these brands to be able to get pieces to photograph and cover on an original basis. But you're right, there is a huge glut. You know, we're not at SIHH, Watches and Wonders, or at Basel, or any Couture even. You know, there's a lot of these shows that we're just simply not attending this year. And a lot of these brands don't have the platform to launch. You know, I think that a lot of brands were prepared to launch digitally, and a lot of brands weren't prepared. And I think what Watches and Wonders did was great. I think it's, you know, TBD to see what happens with Swatch Group. You know, Swatch Group is, you know, definitely, you know, we had the privilege of being in, you know, in January in Dubai with LVMH, so we saw all the product there. Then we were also for Watches and Wonders Digital, we had Richemont out of the way. But yeah, from a Swatch Group standpoint, it seems like the shutters are kind of closed right now, and let's see what they come out with. We very much look forward to it. But yeah, from a Rolex and Patek period, they're still producing. They're producing last year's models, so they had a huge tooling process where they retooled for 2020, and now they kind of retooled back to 2019 to continue to release those products. And I think there's still going to be plenty of supply out there. But yeah, from a coverage standpoint, I think that this will forever change how we cover the industry, because I think that more and more brands are going to embrace digital.
Yeah, I mean, has that been your experience? What's been your experience, Antje? I mean, you were writing about the jewellery industry, or the jewelers industry in Germany for many years. So you've always attended all of the major trade shows. Did you miss them this year?
Yeah, very. I missed the shows, and I missed, of course, the new watches. But also, what I missed more was meeting the people and talk to the people. I think you get always some more information or better sense of what is going on when you meet the people personally, and when you can, of course, touch the new watches and see the new watches and feel the new watches. I really miss the great shows, and I hope that they will start in summer maybe, so that we can meet also personally. And so Zoom is great. So I don't have the camera now, so it's half great. But yes, I miss to meet the people and the persons. That's, I think, a big mess. Yeah.
And it looks like Geneva Watch Days is going to happen, Alex. You know, there seems to be a little. You know, we haven't heard too much about it, but the fact August sounds about right. I've heard a few smaller brands thinking they're going to put something together, along with the Bulgaris and this of the world. What are you hearing?
Latest news is everything is on track, even if, you know, obviously Geneva 2021 Watches and Wonders plus the alternative show. Everybody's getting organized to be present, especially the brands that are participating in Geneva Watch Days. But there is only positive news, you know. For the moment, everything is in pipe, and everything will take place at the beginning of September. So only, you know, I haven't heard anything. And coming back here and seeing that, you know, everything is going in a good direction, if people try to stay and use, you know, don't over exaggerate in terms of gatherings and so on, I don't know why we want to have it.
Yeah, and hopefully the fall events will happen in New York. It'd be nice to get over there and see something happening. Is it your sense that those things are going to go ahead? Watch Time and Worn and Wound's thing?
Yeah, we had a few brands already start reaching out, for later in the year in the fall, late summer, early fall calendar. We had a few PR agencies actually reach out and like, okay, so we're very much in the preliminary phases of this, but would you be amenable to attending an event in August? And you're like, yeah, absolutely. Like, be more than happy to. Count on us. I mean, obviously, if it's safe to do so, and yeah, the team feels comfortable doing that, absolutely. So I think, we'll start to see, July, August period kind of come into play there. I look forward to Watch Time. It's a great show. We've been partners of it for a few years now. The Warner Wound show, I think for the niche micro brands that they serve, I think it's a fantastic show. I think there's still room for others to grow in the space too. I think Couture did quite a phenomenal job. They postponed for this year, but next year it'll be nice to regroup with everyone in Las Vegas. It's a show that we look forward to every year. But yeah, I still think there's a lot more room for the brands to come in the U.S. market. But as we're seeing, in Switzerland, there's plenty of watches, plenty of novelties to have access to, and I think that once the trade routes reopen, we'll start to see some more reciprocity and see some more watches coming back and forth.
Yeah, and because of the timing, in Argento in Munich was probably the biggest watch show of the year, Antje. And maybe could build on that next year.
So I think there could be a great chance for the Inhogenta, not so much for to get the high segmented watches, of course, watch brands, of course not, but the smaller watch brands which were in Basel. I think Genf or Geneva is not the right place for them. So maybe they will go to the Inhogenta. I would appreciate it because I like the Inhogenta. I've been there for 20 years every year, but it could be a great chance for the Inhogenta. Yes, I think so.
Okay, guys. Well, my Zoom is telling me it's almost time up. Another good thing about Zoom, I love the fact that it just tells you to shut up after 30 minutes. So, so it's good to see you all looking well, and I know you're well, Antje, because I saw you properly on Friday. But I look forward to catching up with you all in person in the very near future. Hopefully in Geneva in August.
Look forward to it, Rob. Thanks for having us.
Thanks
we're waiting for you here. Everything is ready. The vacuum is grass. Everything is blue. All the colors are perfect. You just have to come. Let's hope that they open the.
The funny thing is, Alex, you said it's like when you came off the plane in Geneva, you said it was like coming into another planet. But it's you actually what you meant was you came back to normality.
Kind of. I tell you, it's very pleasant to be back here. Really.
Yeah. Okay. Well, looking forward to seeing you there. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.
Stay safe.